Yes, like we always do about this time, everybody. It's Tuesday night. It's 10 o'clock Central Time. You know what that means, you guys. It means it's time for Just the Tip with me, your host, Uncle Weezy. I got the smoking jacket on. I got show notes. I got like 10 pages of notes on all 12 fights on the UFC Vegas 49 card that is coming up this Saturday, February 26th. Going to be headlined by Islam Makhachev versus Bobby Green, stepping in on short notice to take over for, who got hurt? It was Dariush. Broke his leg, man. He broke his leg. So best wishes to Beneil Dariush and a speedy recovery. I was really looking forward to that fight, but being the G that he is, Mr. Bobby Green stepping in to save the show. 7 days removed from the Haqparast win, this kid takes the fight at 35 years of age against the number one contender in the division. Big ups, Bobby Green. You are an absolute G. A credit to the sport of mixed martial arts, man, stepping in to save this show against an absolute monster. And I guarantee that there weren't a lot of people that were going to be picking up that phone to take that fight, and Bobby Green did. So big respect to Bobby Green for saving the show this weekend. But now it's time for me to save the show and talk with you guys about all 12 fights on this card. Let's see what you guys are up to in the chat. We got my guy Mark Schillingberg in the room taking notes. We got Victor De Jesus saying, "Oi, yes, let's stack them, Unk." And hey, everybody, let's make sure to hit that thumbs up button right away. I agree. Please do that. We got Andy MG saying, "Oi." We've got Mark saying, "Absolutely, Victor. Everyone smash that like on your way in, please." We got my guy MMA Fight Club saying, "The uncle for Perez. Looking forward to the show tonight, man. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys about all these fights because this is a pretty interesting card. And there's some betting spots that are sticking out so far. I'm not going to go neck deep into the pool this week because we got a really big week coming up next week with the Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal card, which is stacked from top to bottom. But we got to pick out some really nice spots on this card. So thanks for joining us, JSJ23. Always good to have you around. Any sleeper fights on this card? Well, there's one on the main card, Cachoeira versus Kim, which Cachoeira is really not in boring fights. So hopefully that'll be worthy of being on the main card. I think the co-main event should absolutely be Tsarukyan versus Alvarez. That is a, very high contender spot. That, whoever wins that fight is really moving up the ladder, and we might be seeing them in a title fight sometime soon. So I'd like that to be the co-main instead of Turman against Serkinov. But there's still time for them to kind of switch around this bout order. But I'll give you the bout order that we currently have right now on UFCstats.com. But that one. But there's a lot of good fights, just period, on this card. McKinney versus Ziam, Rodrigues versus Petrosyan. Obviously, the one I already did the Balls Deep breakdown on earlier in the week, which was the last night, which was the Alvarez-Tsarukyan fight, and then the main event, of course. We got my guy David Milk saying, "Yo, how can Bobby Green stay on his feet Saturday?" I think maybe like the best opportunity for him to stay on his feet would be this, you guys. Islam's people tell him, "Look, man, if you want to be thought of as one of the best ever, you've got to beat this guy on the feet. Don't even shoot a takedown and beat him on the feet." Maybe that's how Bobby Green stays on his feet, but we're going to get into the stats for Islam Makhachev and talk about how dominant he's been over a pretty big sample size of 11 fights in the UFC and has managed to control his opponents more than half of his UFC cage time. So, and get 66% of his takedown attempts. The guy is really, really good when it comes to the grappling. So I don't know if Bobby Green can stay on his feet, but the question is, when he gets taken down, can he get back up? And then we got Johnny Parsons in the room. I heard somebody was talking badly about me. Now, wait a second. Wait just a second, Mr. Parsons. What I had said was different than what you think I was saying. What I had said was, if you were going to fight Michael Gillmore, that it would be the same thing as a flaming dumpster being pushed into the octagon. That's what I said. I didn't say that I was talking bad about you in particular. I was just saying that the fight was going to be low level for the UFC. So my apologies on that one. Maybe my words got a little bit mixed up there. But yes, that's what I said, man. But thank you for joining the show. It's hypocritical for me to tell anybody this, but maybe time to get a haircut, man. The mullet went out in 1983. So, Johnny Parsons, good to have you in the room, though, brother. Blood Money MMA bet saying, if Bobby Green wins, how does that rank amongst the biggest upsets in UFC history? Wow, that would be a really big one, especially for a main event fight. And, you know, usually you think of the big upsets taking place in women's MMA. Ronda Rousey getting knocked out by Holly Holm. Shanna Dobson beating Maria Agapova. Most recently, Juliana Pena beating Amanda Nunes. But like, as far as men's mixed martial arts go, man, somebody stepping in there and getting a win in a main event. I mean, like the last time I remember just being absolutely slack-jawed was when Alexander Hernandez came in on short notice and flatlined Beneil Dariush. This would be a bigger upset than that. But Bobby Green is very experienced and he's the better striker here. So, you know, it would rank up there though, probably top 5, especially for men's. And then Johnny, again, I heard someone was talking smack about me. That could have been somebody else too that was talking smack. I was just saying it was going to be a dumpster fire. That's what I was saying. Blood Money saying, Johnny fucking Parsons, I had a huge bet on you. I'm pretty sure it was Noah Allen. And Johnny says, I'm the king of ass shavings. You know who's the king of ass shavings? Are the judges who said that you beat Renfro on the Contender Series. Those were the guys who shaved Renfro's ass and took that fight away from him because he pretty much almost finished you in the first round. And then the second and third were close. But that was a great comeback, though, by Johnny Parsons. Showed a lot of heart in that fight, all kidding aside. And we're going to get to see him sometime soon. I know he got hurt. And you know that he's hurt because there's nobody that's passing up a Michael Gillmore fight here in the UFC. So, now Brahimaj got that honor. And I'm sure there were a lot of people begging for that fight after Parsons did have it get injured and make it to that fight. So, yeah, man, the king of ass shavings. We're going to find out who's going to shave ass on this card. And my guy, Lou Betya, in the room, one of the biggest Johnny Parsons fans on the face of the planet, saying, oh, dude, that's awesome. Johnny Parsons is here. And Jacques Titz in the room, you guys, saying, not sure, but I might be Smooth Jimmy's father. I don't know about that. You'd have to be pretty old, Mr. Jacques Titz, because Smooth Jimmy was old back in the 80s. But, Jacques Titz has been around for a minute, though, but thank you for showing up. One of the kings of abstract geometry, invented Titz buildings, invented the Titz metric, the Titz workaround, and I believe there was what else? What else did Jacques Titz give us? What was the other gift that he gave to the world? I forget. I know it was Titz buildings and something else, but anyway. And DFS by the number saying, what's up, Mr. Parsons? And Lou Betya saying, I think he's gone. He seems angry, but is also probably really smart and handsome with a bad haircut. And Jeremiah Nicola saying, I'm here. Money saying, Lou said, I think he's gone, and then proceeded to start talking crap like Debo just left. Big checks only saying, oi. JP62 saying, oi. Papa Placid Pina saying, the man himself. Nick Alexander with the eyes and the notes. We got my guy F. Carrillo in the house saying, yo, Unc, saying Johnny Parsons. And Uncle Hugh Weezy Hefner. Yes, I got my Hugh Hefner smoking jacket on. Sleeper Pascual, I agree with you there, F. Carrillo. I absolutely agree with you. Definitely like what I've seen on tape out of Pascual. Victor saying, God damn it, I won't be able to watch live. Got to do the work thing. I'll watch the replay in a couple hours. Let's make that money, guys. Victor, Thanks for hanging out and just even commenting, man. And we will see you when you watch on the replay. You've been one of the best supporters of the show, and I appreciate you, brother. Good to see you. Nick Alexander saying, catch a beating on main card is good because it will see her get lit up like a Christmas tree. MMA Fight Club saying, is it Josiane Nunes or Joseph Nunes? It looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck, my friend. And we'll get into that a little bit later on, my friend, I assure you. Santo is saying, Islam round 1 sub is inevitable. Yeah, it's not inevitable, but it's very likely. Daz File saying, oi, rock and roll, let's fucking go. And MMA Fight Club saying, MMA Fight Club, is it Josiane Nunes or Joseph Nunes? We already saw that. Nick, you took the words right out of your Uncle Weezy's mouth, brother. And we got Marco Puzo saying, you're the man, Weezy. Shout out Clearwater, Florida. Clearwater, Florida. Big up yourself. We love you up here in Chicago, Illinois, and we wish you had your weather down there because right now it's freezing up here. The sidewalks are iced over. Almost took a header trying to go to the corner taqueria to get a burrito for dinner tonight, man. It's nasty out there. I'd rather be down there in Florida. Big up yourself, though. Johnny Parsons loves Mexican food, and so do I, man. I'm not making content for this bet, so I'm here. Johnny, Weezy wouldn't bag anyone. He's too nice. I know that, man. Jarno saying, time to take notes again. Let's make more money. Good to see you, Jarno. Thanks for hanging out. Sergio is a beaut saying the fact Bobby keeps his hands down is going to help him get underhooks. I was saying that earlier in the week. Absolutely. Green only plus 500, so his line dropped a little bit. I'm here because I'm not speaking to this bout. Yeah. Papa Placid saying Renfro fighting this. Oh, is he really, PayPal? Yeah, I thought he beat Parsons, but that's all right, man. You know, it's I lost that bet. Move on to the next one. I beat the line movement and I didn't hedge out, so I got no one to blame but myself there. But yeah, Renfro was good, man. I thought he definitely won that house. And Bout Better saying he's got Weezy's back and he carries weight. I love it. And the Cuban Assassin saying, let's go. I got my Keith Peterson haircut and fresh pack of Benson and Hedges and some Thunderbird. Dude, Thunderbird is the word. What's the word? Thunderbird, baby. That's how we get messed up, man. And then Blood Money saying respect Jacques. Yeah, man, respect Jacques Tits for sure. The Tits Alternative, that's right. DFS by the numbers letting us know some of the fantastic gifts that Mr. Jacques Tits gave to the world. You the man, Weezy. Shout out Clearwater. Definitely love you, man. Blood Money, subscribe. Yes, sir. Definitely be subscribing to Blood Money's channel. He does some great work. Major respect, Jacques Tits, for sure. Got my guy Kalanzis in the room saying, what up, Uncle Weezy, the king of swing. And we got Lawrence saying, let's go, Weezy, my bot, my boy. F. Carrillo saying, balls deep. Terrance McKinney, Ferris Ziam, and G-Rod A. Petro. Let's go. And they will both be happening tomorrow. I believe the 10 o'clock balls deep breakdown will be the G-Rod Petrovich or Petrosyan, and then it's going to be McKinney and Ziam at 6 or 5 p.m. my time. And then respect Von Neumann, co-parent of Game Theory. Yeah, dude, I respect all the mathematicians having a statistics degree. Love all the gifts that they gave the world. Math is truly special. Math is the universal language, and math doesn't lie, you guys. And I do sometimes, though, but you know who doesn't lie? Smooth Jimmy Apollo. He never lies because he'll tell you how often he's right. He's right 52% of the time. But folks, when you're right 52% of the time, you're wrong 48% of the time. But that's all right, you guys, because we can't be right all the time, but we can be here every single week. We can give you the numbers for all 12 bouts on the UFC Vegas 49 card. You can always download the stats that I put together every week for free off of Twitter on the description of my videos. And you can check the link to Stat Diggers, which is also in the description of this video. We have got work to do, you guys. Let me get my banners. We got my guy PSSA in the room as well. And we are going to start off here with the Victor Altamirano versus Carlos Hernandez fight. So I have got my screen shared with you guys here. We are going to bring up all the odds and all the stats, and we're going to zoom in here so you guys can see. We've got Rong versus Ignacio Bahamondes. That's not the fight that we're going to start off with, though. That's just the one that my spreadsheet is on. We're going to start off with Victor Altamirano versus Carlos Hernandez. So what I've got for the Altamirano advantages in this fight, you guys, are in the measurables. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage, and he's a switch stance fighter. And I would just recommend you guys, I'm going to actually zoom this down to 125% here. So most of it's on the screen, but I would just recommend downloading the stats and kind of going along with me, because I wanted to do my notes in advance, get them kind of typed out so that I'm just not reading stats to you guys, that I'm just telling you what I saw when I went over the stats and found what the advantages were for each fighter. So I'm going to break down each fighter's advantages, give you a little bit of an idea of how I think the fight will go, and then I'll give you a pick. Let's get to work. Altamirano, the advantages for him in the measurables, he has a 3-inch reach advantage, and he's a switch stance fighter. Switch stance fighters win at a statistically significant rate, so that is always a good thing. The experience advantages, he's got 3 more professional fights, and he's got 47 more minutes in the pro cage. And in the striking, he throws more volume than Hernandez, and he throws with more variety. He's got kind of like a taekwondo and karate background as well as boxing, so he throws with a lot of variety. He throws kicks and hands, and he throws to all 3 targets, head, body, and legs. For Hernandez, he's 3 years younger. In the experience, he's got 10 more months as a pro, and he's got a slightly better finish rate, and he's actually never been finished. And in the grappling, he's got better grappling efficiency. And Altamirano gives up too many minutes on the ground playing guard, from what I've seen on the regional tape. I think Hernandez can win minutes on the ground with his wrestling and top game, and I think on the feet it'll be close. My pick is Hernandez by decision, but when we look at the stats here, you guys, I just wanted to point this out. So Hernandez in his Contender Series fight fought Barez from Spain, and Altamirano fought Carlos Candelario. And you see how Altamirano got 4 takedowns, and his opponent got 5. And Altamirano got his takedowns at a 50% rate, and Candelario got his at a 31.25% rate. But still, even though Candelario only got 1 more takedown, he outcontrolled Altamirano at almost a 3-to-1 rate, while Hernandez got 0 of his 8 takedown attempts, and Barez got 5 of his 16 takedown attempts. But still, Carlos Hernandez managed to outcontrol Barez 32% to 15%. So he controlled him at a 2-to-1 ratio, despite the fact Barez shot twice as many takedown attempts as Hernandez did, and he got 5 more takedowns than Hernandez did. Barez showed really good takedown defense in that fight. Altamirano does not have good takedown defense, you guys. So I think that this fight's going to be slightly close on the feet, but I think Altamirano will win minutes there and will throw a little more volume there. But I do believe that he just spends too much time when he gets taken down. He's easy to take down, playing off his back and doing things that won't win him minutes there. So I kind of feel like whenever Hernandez thinks that he is not doing well on the feet, he'll be able to change where this fight takes place almost at will. And that's why I think Hernandez has a good chance to win this fight, you guys. I'm picking Hernandez to win this one by decision. So let's go on to the next one here. And we've got Ramiz Brahimaj squaring off against Micheal Gillmore. And like I had said, if this was going to be Parsons versus Gillmore, it would have been the same as just wheeling a flaming dumpster into the cage. It would have been maybe one of the lowest level welterweight fights that's happened in the UFC since the whole CM Punk, Mike Jackson thing that happened a few years ago. But we got Micheal Gillmore, who's fought at middleweight on The Ultimate Fighter and on The Ultimate Fighter finale, and is now moving back down to welterweight, which is his natural weight class, to fight Ramiz Brahimaj here. Brahimaj is going to bring some advantages in this fight. He's taking it on short notice, though. I think about 8 or 9 days notice. In the measurables, the advantages for Brahimaj is that he's 5 years younger. Experience-wise, Brahimaj has 4 more pro fights. He has 9 more months as a professional and 2 more UFC level fights. And he's got 15 more minutes in the UFC cage. He's also got a 100% finish rate by submission, and he's only been finished in 1/4 of his pro losses, and that's because he lost an ear to Max Griffin. And that wasn't even like, it was just one of those freak things where it looked like the thumb got caught on the ear, and maybe the ear got caught in the cage after it was initially damaged. And yeah, it was a really rough thing to watch. His ear was almost completely detached from his head. He lost that fight. And he really doesn't have anybody to blame but himself, because he had an absolutely piss-poor game plan. Didn't even shoot 1 takedown against Max Griffin. Just got pieced up on the feet. But that being said, Brahimaj is very difficult to finish. He's never been finished in his 4 professional losses, with the exception of losing the ear. But had that not happened, that fight would have went to decision as well. So in the grappling, though, Brahimaj has got a huge advantage here, you guys. He's got a huge grappling advantage. Gillmore has been submitted in 3 of 4 pro losses. The other one, he was dominated on the ground by Petrosyan and then knocked out with ground and pound. So his general weak point is the grappling for Gillmore, and that's where Ramiz is at his strongest. And the strength of schedule, Ramiz has fought and beaten the better competition, and Gillmore really doesn't have any advantages. He's got a measurables advantage in that he's 1 inch taller and has a 2-inch reach advantage, and he's cutting down to 170. And he might actually be the better striker here, but it's hard to know if that's actually the case. He throws good, strong, good straight punches down the pipe. He's kind of like, as the crow flies, straight to the target. He throws pretty decent leg kicks with his front leg. Not particularly great with the volume, not particularly great with the power, but he does hit hard, But Brahimaj is probably even going to be better on the feet, just because he was able to hang for 3 rounds with a guy like Max Griffin. While we've seen Gillmore kind of get picked apart by strikers that are middleweights that are a little bit slower and not as technically sound, guys like Petrosyan and Urbina. So, yeah, this is Brahimaj. It's Brahimaj all day. I believe he can even win striking exchanges, and if this were to remain a striking fight for 3 rounds, that he could win enough minutes to win a decision here. But if this goes to the ground, Brahimaj is so aggressive down there, so active with his submissions, and he's finished 100% of his 9 professional wins by submission. And Gillmore has lost 3 of his 4 losses inside the distance by submission. The other one by knockout on the ground. It really this is setting up for a Ramiz Brahimaj first round or second round submission, but I'm picking Ramiz Brahimaj by first round submission here, you guys. The next fight that we're going to here is going to be Alejandro Turbo Perez coming up against Jonathan the Dragon Martinez, you guys. Let's see what we've got on the stats here, and let's see what we've got on the notes. So we'll start with Alejandro Turbo Perez coming off a win over the Social Security check drawing Johnny Eduardo in his last bout. And I got to say, pretty happy with the way that fight went. I had picked Alejandro Perez as my ass shaving of the week because I had made the read that at this age, Johnny Eduardo fights for 1 round and then he checks out. And that's exactly what happened. He checked out, and Perez got him out of there late in the second. But this is a much different fight. This is not a 43-year-old, 44-year-old Johnny Eduardo. This is a 27-year-old Jonathan the Dragon Martinez. All right, so we're going to look at the experience advantage here for Perez. He's got 13 more professional fights. He's got 35 more minutes in the pro cage, you guys. 8.5 more years as a pro. 4 more UFC level fights, and 15 more minutes in the UFC cage. Slightly better and more diverse finisher here than Jonathan Martinez, as Martinez finishes more of his fights by knockout, 50% by knockout, 14% by sub, while Perez is getting 41% by knockout, 27% by sub. In the striking, the best that I can find for Perez is that he's got an excellent striking defense, boasting a 63.6% striking defense over a 12-fight sample size. So that is very impressive. And when you watch him strike, he's constantly moving his head off the center line, so he is pretty good defensively. Grappling, he's the slightly more active wrestler in this fight, and he showed a decent top game in the Eduardo fight, but he doesn't get a lot of takedowns. He doesn't get them at a high percentage, and he, racking up control time is not really his thing. He spends about 5/6 of his fights, and I'm talking about Alejandro Perez here, in the striking range. While for and the strength of schedule, really, Perez has fought the better, more experienced competition, but not by a lot. Both of these guys are actually facing guys with losing records on the aggregate. The average opponent for Jonathan Martinez has 2.38 wins and 3.25 losses. And Alejandro Perez's average opponent also has a losing record, 3.67 wins and 4 losses. Now, for Martinez, he's 5 years younger, he's 2 inches taller, and he has a 3-inch reach advantage, and he's a southpaw. So those are all things that we like to see for Martinez there, especially being the younger fighter. And the fact that, since he's probably going to be the better striker here, that he has the kind of attributes to be able to use that length advantage that he has over Turbo Perez here. As far as experience goes, Martinez is the better knockout artist, and he's been more durable in his pro career. He's only been finished once in 4 pro losses as Martinez, and that's in 18 pro fights. But Perez has been finished in 5 of his 8 losses, and he's been knocked out twice. As far as striking goes, Martinez has a slightly better striking ratios. He has more power. He has solid striking defense, and he's been less chinny than Perez, who has been knocked down 5 times in 12 UFC fights, while Martinez has been knocked down 3 times in 8 fights. Perez has never recorded a UFC knockdown. And then we notice that Jonathan Martinez, he's landed 5 knockdowns in his own right, and he's landing knockdowns on 1.02% of the significant strikes that he lands. So I do think that Martinez is going to have a pretty significant striking advantage here, you guys. He's more accurate, he's more powerful, and he's less chinny, and he's got that length advantage, and he uses it well. He manages range well, and Alejandro Perez isn't exactly this relentless pressure fighter, which would be the kind of fighter that could make up for a reach disadvantage here. So I do think that Martinez is going to have a nice striking advantage here, you guys. And then grappling, Martinez has spent 75% of his UFC career on the feet where he's most comfortable, and Perez has only controlled his opponents for 7.1% of his UFC cage time over a 12-fight sample size. So we might not be able to count on Perez to win minutes with his grappling due to his 24% takedown accuracy and Martinez's 72% takedown defense. In addition to that, Martinez has only been controlled for 10% of his UFC career in an 8-fight sample size, and that's facing 25 takedown attempts in 8 fights. So all that being said, I do think that Jonathan Martinez is going to be better on the feet here and be the much better minute winner and potentially the better moment winner as well on the feet. And then when I look at Perez's ability to be able to win minutes on the ground, he hasn't shown the ability to be able to do that lately. And Martinez has shown a pretty good job to be pretty efficient in the grappling exchanges, you guys. Martinez's opponents have attempted 25 takedowns while Martinez has only attempted 8. So Martinez, for every takedown that Martinez attempts, Martinez's opponents are attempting 3. Yet Martinez is out-controlling his opponents 14.38% to 10%. So he's been very efficient in the grappling exchanges. So I believe it's going to be hard for Perez to win minutes with the grappling. And I believe that Martinez will be the better moment winner and minute winner on the feet. I also think that the strength of schedule is close and that Jonathan Martinez is actually beating guys with winning records while Perez is actually beating guys with losing records, but close to 500. So I like the fact that Martinez is younger, longer, the better striker. not at a huge experience disadvantage and huge strength of schedule advantage. So I'm going to pick Jonathan Martinez to win this fight, you guys. And I'm going to pick him to win it by third round KO because we have seen Perez finished a few times in his career. All right, so let's move on to the next fight here. And it is going to be Jinh Frey squaring off against Hannah Goldy. Let me take a sip of beverage here, give a good cough, get on with the rest of the show. All right, you guys. So Jinh Frey against Hannah Goldy. And I think I've got that ticker up. Excellent. So I have got Jinh Frey. The advantages for Jinh Frey here are going to be in the measurables, a 4-inch reach advantage, and she's a southpaw. In the experience, she's got 9 more pro fights. She's got 125 more minutes in the pro cage and 3 more years as a professional mixed martial artist. She's got 8 more minutes in the UFC cage. When it comes to the grappling for Frey, Jin's done a really good job of using her grappling to win minutes against Yoder and DePaula. She outcontrols her opponents at a 2-to-1 ratio, and she's showing 90% takedown defense in the UFC so far on 20 takedown attempts against. Goldy has only shown 50% takedown defense thus far in the UFC, but she's shown a good get-up game, being controlled just over 10% of her UFC cage time thus far. According to my numbers, Goldy has been she's been controlled less than that, 6.59%, but in the Contender Series fight, we didn't get control time numbers for that fight, and she was taken down a couple times in that fight. So I'm assuming the control time is going to be over 10% against. And it could even be that she's being out-controlled by her opponents because she has been taken down 4 times and only gotten 2 takedowns in her own right. But yeah, so I think Jinh has done a really good job winning minutes on the ground lately. And in the strength of schedule, Frey has fought and beaten the better level of competition in the UFC, but it's close. Neither lady has big wins so far. And I mean, you'll see it in the strength of schedule stats right here, you guys. Jinh Frey with a 0.55 win-to-loss ratio in her competition. So her average opponent has a record of 1.5 wins and 2.75 losses. And for Goldy, it's even worse than that, as the average opponent for her has been 0.5 wins and 1.75 losses. So neither one of these ladies is fighting good competition, but Jinh Frey is still fighting the better competition in the UFC and really outside of it as well, because she was a champion in Invicta prior to coming to the UFC at atomweight. So yeah, Jinh Frey has got, an experience advantage here. She's got a reach advantage, and I think she could have a grappling advantage. But let me see here. Let's get down to Hannah Goldy, and Hannah Goldy is 7 years younger, and she's actually 1 inch taller here. And as well, she's got to obviously be stronger. All you got to do is take one look at the girl to know that she is extremely strong. The experience, she's the slightly better finisher. She's got a 33% finish rate to Jinh Frey's 27% finish rate. Goldy's been more durable. She's never been finished in 2 pro losses, and Frey's been finished in 3 of her 6 pro losses, twice by knockout and once by sub. For the striking, Goldy throws way more volume, you guys. Frey is slightly more accurate and has better striking ratios. Or I'm sorry, Goldy is more accurate and has way better striking ratios than Frey. It does look like Goldy should be the minute winner on the feet, even though Frey has a 4-inch reach advantage. So when we look at the stats here, we see that Jinh Frey is only throwing 6.46 significant strike attempts per minute, while Hannah Goldy is throwing 12.68. So they're both actually landing at a similar rate here. And they're both actually getting, neither one of these ladies is spectacular defensively. So it does look like, if this fight stays on the feet and Goldy continues to pressure and throw more volume, that she can win minutes on the feet. And I do think that, either one of them can get takedowns, but it's been Goldy who's shown 50% takedown defense, and it's been Frey who's shown 90% takedown defense. And I do know that Frey is out-controlling her opponents, despite the fact she's attempted less than half as many takedowns as her opponents have. So she's been very efficient in the grappling exchanges. I think that this is going to be a very close fight, you guys. I'm going to count on Jinh Frey's experience, better strength of schedule, and potentially better grappling here to grind out a split decision victory for Jinh Frey. You guys, I want to just say I believe this to be a 1-800 gambler fight. I am not going to be touching this fight at the window. I can see why people are getting on Hannah Goldy at plus money. It's not the worst thing in the world. This should absolutely be a close fight. And for as close as I think it's going to be, I would never lay minus 175 on Jinh Frey. But Jinh Frey by decision, though, you guys, seeing as Hannah Goldy's never been finished. Frey by decision is plus money in one couple of spots here and minus 110 on Bet Online. If you're on the Frey side, that's how I would play it. If you're on the Goldy side, I would just bet the money line because Frey's been finished in half her losses and decisioned in half her losses. You want to leave the door open there for a finish for Goldy if you're on her side, and you're getting 1.5 to 1 anyway. So I don't hate anybody taking the shot on Hannah Goldy here at plus money. I'm just not going to be touching this fight, you guys. And let's see here. Let's just see what you guys are saying here. Blood Money saying, fun fact, Gillmore has a win over Chaos Williams in the amateurs. Wow. Somehow, yeah. Martinez is a lock, boys. Bigger, better, faster, and will land the step-in knee on the boxer in the second round for the KO. I like that call, man. That step-in knee that he uses to cover distance is really dangerous. My guy Silky B is in the room. He's saying my big two-leaguer of the week is Martinez and Islam. I agree with that. I think that's a great parlay. Addicted to Combat saying a little late, but I made it. What up, Unc? Thanks for hanging out. Addicted to Combat. Check out his YouTube channel. We got my guy Low T City Ortega saying, oi. We got Blood Money saying, I bet Frey at minus 180. I feel like she's better everywhere. Well, she could be. I just not the volume and the pressure. But I think everywhere else, I do agree. Fade only fan, says Nick Alexander. Nick knows what's up. DXJC, Frey beat Yoder, who beat Granger, who beat Goldy, and Frey also beat DePaulo, who beat Belbita, who beat Goldy. So there's two different MMA math equations going against Goldy here. Yeah, and DXJC, my strength of schedule metric is saying the exact same thing. So I'm in the right place. Heard this was the Johnny Parsons fans club. You're going to have to go to Lou Betya for the Johnny Parsons fan club. I am not in that club, but I do think that the guy has got a lot of heart, and he showed a lot of heart to be able to even hang in that fight with Renfro there for 3 rounds and had a good second and third round. So big up Johnny Parsons. Schillingberg saying, no doubt, I'm not touching this one. Agreed. We all love Parsons, Monk. And then Switch Plays Game says, Carlos Hernandez by rear naked choke. That would be interesting, man. I like Hernandez in that fight as well. Switch Plays Games. All right. So let's move on to the next one. We have got, and this is a good one, you guys. I'm going to be doing a balls deep breakdown in this fight tomorrow night at, I'm going to do it right before I do the DFS show on Pub Sports Radio. So that'll be at 6 o'clock Central Time. So I'll be doing it at 5 o'clock Central Time on my channel. I'll send out that link late night tonight after I put the timestamps on this video. But we got to break down Terrance McKinney versus Ziam. This is a kick-ass fight. Can't wait to break it down with you guys. I was watching tape. I watched all the available tape on both of these guys today. So the advantages for McKinney, in my opinion, are the experience. He's got a 100% finish rate. 100% finish rate against. He's a killer be killed fighter, and it might be a bad matchup versus somebody like Ziam who hates being pressured. So I think Ziam, who's this really fantastic technical kickboxer, needs room in order to be able to get that game off. He needs to get his feet planted. He needs to maintain distance. And Terrance McKinney is not the kind of fighter that allows you to he doesn't start slow. He won't stand in front of you and try and get information by the way you're striking. He just brings the chaos right away. So that's interesting that he has that 100% finish rate for and against. I think that experience will be a bad matchup for Ziam. The striking, pure power. Ziam is the much better technical striker, obviously. But McKinney has serious power, big head kicks, and has one knockdown and only 12 UFC strikes landed. The chaos he brings might be bad for a technical striker like Ziam. The grappling. McKinney has fantastic wrestling, you guys. He was and a very heavy top game and a good submission game. He was the number 1 ranked high school wrestler nationally and placed second in the country in Division II in college. Terrance can definitely use his top game in wrestling to win minutes against Ziam, like Madge and Malarkey did. He's averaging 4.33 takedowns for 15 minutes in a very small sample size. He's fought and beaten the slightly better competition in the UFC thus far. Look, you guys, McKinney's wrestling is good. When he gets guys down, he's very active down there. He's looking for submissions, but he's always using his ground and pound to help set up those submissions. Love the work that Terrance McKinney does on the ground. Terrance McKinney has never seen a decision in his career, and I'm not even sure if he's ever even seen 1/3 round in his career. I think he might have seen one once. But Terrance McKinney, the dictionary definition of a killer be killed fighter. For Ziam, he's 3 years younger. He's 3 inches taller, and he's got a 2-inch reach advantage. And he's very good as a striker in using those physical gifts and that length when he's not being pressured by his opponents. If you go and you watch the Luigi Vendramini fight, in the first 2 rounds, Vendramini is not pressuring him. He's standing outside. He's looking for a way in, and you watch the work that Perez does on him, man, and it's pretty to watch. The guy's very technical. He's got great footwork, incredible feints. He keeps you guessing, and when he throws hard. So Ziam is going to be by far the better striker in this fight. The experience. He's got one more professional fight, does Ziam, actually, despite the fact that he's only 24 years old. He's got 90 more minutes in the pro cage, and he's got 3 more years as a professional. He's got 1 more UFC level fight and almost 40 more minutes in the UFC cage, you guys. Striking. K1 kickboxing champ at the age of 19 for Ziam. Perez is the more technical, long, and diverse striker. If you stand in front of this guy and don't pressure him, he will slowly but surely pick you apart. Lots of feints, diversity of striking, a fantastic jab, and his defense is outstanding. He's boasting a 65.28% striking defense in 3 UFC fights. McKinney has been dropped once in only 4 significant strikes absorbed. So Perez could certainly find McKinney's chin here, and McKinney has been finished in all of his losses. Right now, you guys, I'm on Terrance McKinney to win this fight. But I reserve the right to change my mind. Perez Ziam he's not just a kickboxer. He was a very high-level kickboxer at the age of 19, but he made the switch. And since he's made the switch, he's been training in Bulgaria at Bulgarian Top Team. He's been working on that wrestling. When you watch the regional scene footage on this guy is using his wrestling. He is getting takedowns. He fought a guy, Yassim Belhamaj or something like that. Let's see if it's on the list here. Yassin Belhaj. This guy was a Taekwondo champion, and he went out there and he took this guy down in every single round and won a bunch of minutes on the ground. He's got good takedown defenses. He's stopping takedowns at a 69% rate here in the UFC, and he's been facing almost 10 takedown attempts per fight. So I think that both of these guys are sneaky good everywhere. McKinney, though, in my opinion, can, just by fighting the way he has always fought, which is recklessly, but with pressure and pace and volume and chaos, can take the more technical guy in Ziam, give him that pressure that he hates, the kind of pressure that Luigi Vendramini showed in the 3rd round of the Perez Ziam fight. And then so I've seen Vendramini have success against Ziam when he pressured him and brought the kind of chaos that I think Terrance McKinney will bring. And I also have seen Perez Ziam have problems when guys like Madge and Malarkey went with wrestling heavy game plans. And we know that Terrance McKinney has the ability to do that. So because of the weak spots that Perez has shown, And because Terrance has shown to be proficient in the areas that Perez is weak, I'm going to pick Terrance McKinney to win this fight, and I'm going to pick him to win it by first round KO, but that will be like a ground and pound KO is what I'm looking for there, you guys. Yeah, Terrance McKinney to win that one inside the distance is the pick, you guys. But I think that is one of the fights of the year so far. I think it's very closely contested. I see why the line is so close. I just really like Terrance McKinney to really be good everywhere where Perez Ziam is still working on getting better. But that is a great fight. And let's move on to the next one, you guys. Yeah, and then Blood Money saying Ziam is K1 champ at 18, so he won't get starched by McKinney. McKinney got one good round of grappling as seen by the Sean Woodson fight. After a ton of tape, I ended betting Ziam. Well, I watched a ton of tape on Ziam too, and I'm very, very impressed by him. It was the pressure that I think McKinney's going to bring and the pressure that Vendramini brought in the third round. And I didn't think that McKinney was gassed when he got knocked out by Woodson. It's just Woodson caught him with a perfect jump knee when he was going in for another takedown. So I think we will see Terrance have some prolonged success with the wrestling. And I believe that when they're on the feet, he won't stand in front of Perez and let him get his kickboxing off. But, man, I wouldn't be surprised by any result in this fight. And I'm not going hard in the paint on this one. I will have bets on it, but I won't be going hard in the paint, you guys. So, yeah, that was I didn't even change the ticker. My apologies on that one. But, you guys, Terrance McKinney plus 100, Perez Ziam minus 120. And the fight doesn't go to decision, sitting at minus 125 right now on 5 dimes. I can't bet 5 dimes, but I do have a bet on this fight, you guys. I've got the under 2.5 at minus 130. That was the only place that I could find it. It's probably going to open much worse than that on all the other books. I think that when you got a fighter like Perez Ziam, or like Terrance McKinney, who in 14 professional fights has only seen a third round once, to get an under 2.5 at minus 130 is a gift. And Ziam's got serious power, you guys, and we've seen McKinney get chin checked, and he's been finished in all of his losses as well. So love the fight doesn't go to decision for this fight, and I think it's very fairly priced because Perez Ziam has been the decision in all 3 of his UFC fights. But when you come up against a fighter like McKinney, that changes the way that you fight. So the next fight, you guys, is going to be Josiane Nunes against Ramona Pascual. So let's get back to the comments here. And we got Strickland's Burner in there. We got Blood Money. We got Ziam on the hoof juice now at Sanford MMA, but I still got McKinney. Yeah, he's on. Yeah, that's good to be with those Dutch kickboxing guys after he's been with those Bulgarians learning that wrestling over there in Europe. So great stuff, though. That's really a fantastic fight. This one, I don't know. This one could be a great fight. These are a couple of ladies that hit hard, and it's going to be at featherweight, you guys. But yeah, Josiane Nunes against Ramona Pascual. Here are my notes for this fight. The advantages for Josiane Nunes. I've got for the measurable, she's 5 years younger. She's got a 1-inch reach advantage, and Josie is a southpaw. The experience, she's got 1 more professional fight. She's got 15 more minutes of pro cage time and 3 more years as a pro. 1 more UFC level fight, slightly better finisher, and more durable. Striking, throws a ton of volume, has great power, landing a knockdown on 1.92% of the significant strikes that she lands, and she's fought the better competition. Only losses to Taylor Santos. For Pascual, she'll be bigger here, 5 inches taller. She's the natural featherweight, while Benavidez is really like more of a flyweight with a really big head, but that big head will give Josie really good balance. So it's hard to know what's happening here. I just finally caught a little more tape on Ramona today, and I really do like what I see. It's hard to know where Josiane Nunes is because I just don't think the Bea Malecki win is. I was going to pick Bea Malecki to be my ass shaving of the week, sight unseen, after watching the tape on Josiane Nunes on the regional scene, because it's just, she doesn't look great on the regional scene, and then her opponents, whether it's a cashier or a soccer mom or a seamstress, they just gas out after 3-4 minutes, and then Josie takes over. So I never really liked what I saw out of her on the regional scene, but she does show power. She does have good conditioning. She throws volume, and but she can give up minutes on the ground for sure. And for Ramona, she seems pretty well rounded. She's definitely the more natural size featherweight here. But I haven't seen enough of her on the regional scene for me to be, confident that she wins this fight. But frankly, laying minus 180 on a pretty much relative unknown in Josiane Nunes, actually, she's better than minus 200, minus 205, minus 200. I think the value here is on Pascual. If you watch a couple of the more recent fights for Pascual, the Shamir Peshewa fight and the Guadalupe Guzman fight, you really do see her mixing up the striking and the grappling. She hits very hard. And, I think she can wrestle a little bit. She switched recently over to Syndicate MMA after fighting in Europe, in Hong Kong prior to that. So she's getting some better training. She's 33 years old. And she might be making some really big improvements here. So I think she could come in here and shock the world. Certainly don't hate the underdog bet here on Ramona Pascual, because I just don't think we know all that much about Josie Nunes. And like I say on the ticker there, if anybody's ever seen Josiane Nunes and Joe Benavidez in the same room at the same time, please let me know so I stop bringing this up and looking like an asshole. But, it's definitely something that I've been looking at, man. But yeah, you guys, I do think that Pascual is absolutely live here. And anyway, I'm going to pick, let's see, what did I write down for my pick? I'm picking Nunes by second round KO, but I don't really have much faith in that, and I won't be laying the juice on her, you guys. I think Ramona Pascual is very live at plus 170 here, and I would not hate a bet on that at all, because she'll be bigger, and I just don't know how many improvements she's made. And it looked like she already had some pretty decent striking skills prior to what we've seen of her so far. So yeah, you guys, very interesting fight right there. The next one that we're going to move on to here is going to be Rong versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is a banger, you guys. Let's get this ticker on here for you guys so you can see the lines. And I will go to my notes. So something to note, Rong Zhu missed weight his last time out by 2 pounds. I've got Rong Zhu with the experience advantage here with 6 more professional fights, almost 30 more minutes in the pro cage, and he's the better, more diverse finisher. He's finished 16 of his 18 pro wins inside the distance. Grappling, I think Rong will be the better wrestler here, you guys. He's a fantastic 9 of 12 on his takedown attempts thus far in the UFC, and he's out-controlling his opponents at a 10-to-1 ratio thus far. However, Bahamondes has shown 100% takedown defense thus far in the UFC. He's defended 17 takedowns, all of them successfully. But Rong will be the best wrestler by far he has faced. And when you watch Ignacio's regional scene footage, he definitely does struggle with grapplers. But, Ignacio is only 24 years old. Rong is only 21 years old. These are the kind of guys that we can expect that they will be making big improvements. But I do have Rong with a little experience advantage here, and I think a sizable grappling advantage. But Bahamondes is 6 inches taller and has a 4-inch reach advantage here. And he's 3 years older, which I think is usually not a good thing. But when you're 24 and your opponent is 21, I think it's actually better to be a little bit older in that case. He's got 1 more fight at the UFC level, and he's got almost 10 more minutes in the UFC cage, you guys. So a little bit of an experience advantage here for Bahamondes in certain areas, while Rong has the experience advantage in other areas. In the striking, Ignacio will be the far better striker here. He's longer, rangier. He uses his length well, has a kickboxing background, comes from a martial arts family, and he throws a wide diversity of attacks, tons of volume, and he's shown some flashy power with that wheel kick knockout of Roosevelt Roberts. He has a far better striking ratio, and he's landing a lot of strikes, you guys, 7.56 significant strikes per minute and absorbing only 5.32 with a 57% striking defense. He doesn't deal with pressure well, though. He does okay, but he's definitely going to be way more comfortable if you just stand in front of him and trade with him, because he's the more technical kickboxer, because he's rangier, because he throws a much wider diversity of attacks. It's just a bad idea to stand in front of this guy and trade with him. You want to do what Makdessi did to him, is just walk him down, stay in his face, nullify the reach advantage, and just pressure. That gets him on his heels. It allows him to not plant his feet, set up those flashy attacks, and potentially then you could even out-volume him when you got him on his back foot. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, if Rong walks him down, how Ignacio deals with it. But the strength of schedule, I have Ignacio fighting and beating and losing to the slightly better and more experienced competition here, you guys. This is going to be a very close fight. I believe that Rong Zhu will be able to win a lot of minutes on the ground here. I think he's going to be the best wrestler that Ignacio has faced, and I think that he's going to be able to mix it up. And with mixing in the wrestling and pressuring, if he does both of those things well, I think he can make this fight very close. But then again, in fights like that, if Bahamondes is stopping the takedown attempts and landing the better shots when they are striking, I think he might pull out a very greasy split decision here, you guys. I do not hate the plus money on Rong Zhu here, you guys. I think he's a little more well-rounded, and I think that his performance is being a little bit undervalued against Brandon Jenkins, while the performance of Ignacio Bahamondes against Roosevelt Roberts, while it was a masterclass, I don't know if we're ever going to see Roosevelt Roberts in the UFC again. He really looks to have fallen off a cliff. I haven't seen him do anything good for a very long time. And I got a feeling that Rong Zhu win over Brandon Jenkins is even more impressive than the finish win over Roosevelt Roberts at this point. I think plus 180 on Zhu Rong is great value, but I am going to pick Ignacio Bahamondes to win this fight by split decision, you guys. But I might be looking to take just a straight bet, maybe a half unit on Rong Zhu, because I think it's going to be that close. Okay, so now we're going to go to Armen Petrosyan against Gregory Rodrigues. Let's see here. I've got the stats over here. And let's see. I think this takes us to the main card, you guys. We only got 5 fights left. How are we doing on time? 57 minutes in. This is beautiful. I'm glad. I'm trying to get just the tip down to about an hour and a half. I want to have my notes written out in advance, just not read stats off the page to you guys. Kind of go with a little more of a flow and just talk about the advantages, disadvantages, and what I've seen on tape. And there's 48 of you guys hanging out live in here with me on a Tuesday night. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't downloaded the stats for free, why haven't you? They're free. Use it to help you make some gambling decisions, take some money off these bookies, man. Your Uncle Weezy's looking out for you. That's all you got to do is click that link, download those stats. We got you covered. But this fight is going to be a good one, and I'm going to be doing a balls deep breakdown on this fight tomorrow night at 10. Truth be told, I haven't watched any of the tape yet on Rodrigues, even though I've watched tape on him on the past, but I've watched everything available on Armen Petrosyan. And it's good to watch the Petrosyan tape because for those of you guys who have also watched all the tape on Petrosyan, you'll see what I saw. Every Petrosyan fight is the same. He fights in Russia. He fights against Russians that are fantastic wrestlers, and these guys don't want to deal with his kickboxing. It's very good. It's very sharp. He hits hard. Great body kicks, great leg kicks, great head kicks, and his punches come straight and they hurt. So this guy's got a lot of power on the feet. So he usually winds up getting wrestled, and usually, he does a good job of not giving up his back, not letting his opponent get off too much ground and pound. He works his way back to his feet, and then he knocks you out. Plain and simple. It's pretty much the same fight every damn time. So Let me get to my notes here, you guys. So the Petrosyan advantage is here, right? I've got only striking as the advantage here for Petrosyan. Armen has shown excellent striking in his regional scene footage. He constantly deals with takedown attempts, and his opponents always try to grapple him and lay in prey. Eventually, he gets back to his feet, regains distance, and lands big shots, scoring the knockout. He will be the better, more powerful striker here, and Rodrigues has been dropped before in the UFC by Jordan Williams and also knocked out by Jordan Williams. Armen's only path to victory, in my opinion, is through his striking. That shouldn't be a controversial statement at all. Rodrigues has several advantages in this fight, you guys. He's 1 year younger. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage on the feet. As far as experience goes, he's got 7 more pro fights. He's got 52 more minutes in the pro cage and 4 more years as a pro mixed martial artist. He's also got a high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu background prior to that. He is the more diverse finisher, 45% by knockout and 36% by sub, while Armen only wins by knockout 100% of the time. The grappling. Greg is a high-level BJJ player, and he has shown 50% takedown accuracy in 3 UFC fights, averaging 2.94 takedowns per 15 minutes and 18.6% control time, while showing 100% takedown defense in his own right. He also outcontrols his opponents at a 2.5-to-1 ratio. That is 18.6% control time for Rodrigues and only 7.51% control time against. Greg has a great chance to win minutes with his grappling here. In Armen's only UFC fight, he allowed 80% control time, but he still managed to score a knockout. So the path of least resistance would be for Greg to grapple here. I think he'll be a little bit better on the feet than some of these guys that we've seen in the past. And Rodrigues, while he looked chinny against Jordan Williams, we've also seen him show one-punch knockout power against Josh Fremd in LFA. We've seen him show significant power to knock out the Iron Turtle, Jinh Park, in his last fight, which was an amazing fight. And for those who were saying that Rodrigues was chinny, in that fight, he took a lot of serious shots from Jinh Park and was able to absorb them. So I don't know which Rodrigues chin is going to show up here, but I do know that he is the more well-rounded mixed martial artist, and that I think he can even he could have some minutes on the feet here. It's not like Petrosyan's untouchable on the feet. He's been knocked out as well, and we do know that Rodrigues has power. The strength of schedule is definitely in Rodrigues' favor. He's beaten the better, more experienced competition. This is a close fight, in my opinion. If I were to pick Petrosyan, I would be picking him to win inside the distance by knockout because that's how he wins. We've got Rodrigues with an 81% finish rate, and in these guys, 4 combined losses, 3 of them are inside the distance. So we've got a fat fight that doesn't go to decision line here. But if this fight does go to decision, I could see either one of these guys winning a decision. Petrosyan, a striking-based decision. Rodrigues maybe winning some minutes on the feet and also racking up some control time on the ground. But I'm going to pick Gregory Rodrigues to win this one. I'll pick him to win it by submission in the second round, but I don't feel real good about that, and I probably won't be betting it. And I reserve the right to change my pick because I will be doing a balls deep breakdown in this fight. And after I watch all the tape and look at all the angles, I'll have a better idea and a more confident opinion here. But as of right now, the pick is going to be Gregory Rodrigues inside the distance by submission, you guys. And the next fight that we are going to go to is going to be Tsarukyan against Alvarez, you guys. This is a fantastic fight. I did a balls deep breakdown of this fight on my channel last night. If you want a more in-depth look at this fight, please go check that out. The link is not in the description, but it is on my channel. You guys know how to find it. But yeah, Armen Tsarukyan is about minus 225 right now, and Alvarez is about plus 190. The fight doesn't go to decision, is minus 150 here. Let's see. We have got the advantages for Armen Tsarukyan. He is 3 years younger in the measurables. In the experience, he's got 17 more minutes of pro cage time and over 30 more minutes in the UFC cage. Striking, Armen will be the better defensive striker here, as he has shown an impressive 63% striking defense over 5 UFC fights. He uses his wrestling to get out of striking exchanges that he isn't comfortable in. The grappling, Armen is the much better wrestler here, and he will be able to dictate where this fight takes place without a doubt. That is something that I won't even argue with anybody. If Tsarukyan wants this fight on the ground, it's going to the ground. If Tsarukyan wants this fight to stay on the feet, it's staying on the feet. That's it. Alvarez couldn't get a takedown to save his life. He's attempted 0 in the UFC. I've never seen him get one even on the regional scene. And Joel Alvarez has a 0% takedown defense. He folds like a lawn chair whenever anyone tries to take him down. He couldn't stop a takedown if his life depended on it. Tsarukyan has gotten 14 takedowns in 5 fights. He's averaging 3.38 takedowns per 15 minutes, and he's out-controlling his opponents 34.4% to 13.3%. And keep in mind, this dude had a fight against Islam Makhachev. So Armen will absolutely be the better grappler. 14 takedowns in 5 UFC fights. Let's see. Alvarez, that 0% takedown defense, and he gets out-controlled at a 20-1 ratio in the UFC. Tsarukyan, there's a big opportunity here for Tsarukyan to use his wrestling and top game and submission defense to win minutes here. And Armen has fought, beaten, and lost to the better and more experienced competition. For Alvarez, he's 6 inches taller and has a 5-inch reach advantage. He is an absolutely huge lightweight. He's got 2 more pro fights and a year and a half more as a pro, and 100% finish rate in 19 pro wins. Alvarez will be the longer, rangier striker here, and he uses his kicks very well. He throws with power, and he's at his best when he's the one pressuring, as is Tsarukyan. So what I think is going to be important here, and I think really is the question, is can Tsarukyan stay safe if he takes Alvarez down? Because Alvarez is very good getting submissions off his back. He's got 19 professional wins. 16 of them are by submission. 100% of his wins are inside the distance. So the average Joel Alvarez fight takes place like this. He comes out striking, and he's throwing big, heavy, long-range kicks to the head, to the body, to the legs, and long punches straight down the pipe. And he's trying to hurt you with every single one of them and take your head off. So his opponent gets frustrated by not being able to close the range and seeing these long-range power, shoots in for a takedown, and then either winds up in an armbar, a guillotine, a bravo, or a triangle, and fight over. Or they get on top, and then they get swept, and they get ground and pounded out like Danilo Belluardo did. But the thing about Tsarukyan is that he's been on the ground with Makhachev. He's been on the ground with Alban Mercier. He's been on Davy Ramos's guard for 2-3 minutes. You know, he's beaten Frivola and Yagos. He's beaten some really good grapplers. So Joel Alvarez has an excellent MMA grappling game, but Armen Tsarukyan has swum with the best on the ground. He's only getting better. Both of these guys are young, but the fact that Armen will be able to choose where this fight takes place, to me, is a huge advantage. I will have a bet this week on Armen Tsarukyan by decision. If you want a more nuanced and lengthy breakdown of this fight, and it's absolutely worth that because it's such a good fight with so many potential outcomes. Both of these guys are so well-rounded that it really does take a while to break down this fight. Please check out my channel. Go check out the Balls Deep breakdown I did last night. We've got another fight here, and it is going to be Jiyeon Kim against Priscilla Cheating. So we've got Missing Fist Kim, and we've got Ketcha Cheating here, or Gaujuera as she is sometimes known. We saw some cheating in that last fight. This is going to be an interesting matchup, you guys. The advantages that I have for Jiyeon Kim in this spot, she's 1 year younger, and like every other Jiyeon Kim fight, she has a huge reach advantage here, you guys. A 7-inch reach advantage for Jiyeon Kim. She's got one more professional fight, 70 more minutes in the pro cage, 2.5 more years as a pro, one more UFC level fight, and 45 more minutes in the UFC cage. She's the more diverse finisher, and winner, and she's never been finished. And that's Kim. The striking, Kim will be the longer, more technically sound kickboxer here, and she has decent power as well, which matches Priscilla's best attribute besides her heart and durability. She will throw more volume, which is way more defensively responsible. When you combine that with her reach advantage, she should be the minute winner on the feet. Cachoeira definitely blocks punches with her face, and she has a 40% striking defense. For Cachoeira, the advantages in the striking are the heart, toughness, and pressure and power are what she brings to the table. So if she relentlessly pressures Kim, she might be able to make her very uncomfortable. She will have to do that to make up for the 7-inch reach disadvantage, but that's her game. That's why they call her the zombie girl. Priscilla has fought and lost to the better, more experienced competition, and the wins are close. So what I see being the key to this fight, you guys, is the pressure of Priscilla beating, because she does walk forward and block punches with her face. But she's very durable. She's got a hell of a chin, so she can fight that style for a long period of time. And oftentimes she does wear down her opponents with that style. One of the best ways to deal with that pressure that she constantly brings is to take her down and win some minutes there. But that's not in Jiyeon Kim's game. 7 UFC fights, 0 takedowns for Jiyeon Kim. And as a matter of fact, I think Jiyeon Kim has never won a UFC fight where she's been taken down, or at least she's never won a fight where her opponent has attempted more than a certain amount of takedowns. So Jiyeon Kim hasn't dealt well with the wrestling in the past, but she actually did a pretty good job of stopping it against Molly McCann. It's just that Molly pressured her constantly and threw a lot of volume. And I think that that's something that Priscilla can do here, but probably not as well as Molly McCann. I think Molly McCann throws more volume. She's definitely more accurate. And, I think she just is a little bit more of a technically sound boxer. She can land with both hands, while Priscilla's really just kind of throwing that right hand. I don't think this 7-inch reach advantage is going to be a big deal for Jiyeon Kim here, to be honest with you. I don't think the fact that she's the much more technical, crisp striker is going to matter that much, because Priscilla brings a very ugly fight. She constantly marches you down. She doesn't let you plant your feet. She doesn't let you throw power strikes, and she stays in your face. And I think that that's going to be a very good recipe to make Jiyeon Kim uncomfortable here, but I don't think it's going to be enough, because I think she would need to mix in takedown attempts. And Priscilla, just like Jiyeon Kim, has 0 successful takedowns in the UFC. 13 combined fights between these two ladies, and over 150 minutes combined in the cage, and they have 0 combined takedowns. So I believe that Priscilla's poor striking defense will be just enough for Jiyeon Kim to win this fight via split decision, you guys. I don't think anybody is stopping Priscilla Cachoeira with strikes. She's simply too tough. She has too much heart. And even though Kim does hit hard, I don't think she's going to get many chances to plant her feet and really throw here, because Priscilla's constantly going to be in her face. I just don't think it's going to be enough. Like I say, you guys, I'm going to pick Jiyeon Kim here by split decision. And then we got another fight that I really don't have much of a handle on, to be honest with you guys. Here, this is Misha Serkinov against Wellington Turman. Let me get the banner up on the page here. Oh, my God. 50 of you guys hanging out. That is fantastic. We got Strickland's burner in the room saying that's dope and gives RDA a better chance, I reckon. Makes sense as well, because we haven't seen Fasayev go 5 rounds. Yeah, that'll be really cool to see Fasayev go 5 rounds. MMA Fight Club saying Priscilla is similar to Amanda Lemos, just tough as nails. Yeah, and not quite as much power or as good as striking as Amanda, but yeah, very similar. Let's see. Yeah, and it's supposed to be a 5-round, you guys. That's awesome. Yeah, Priscilla Cachoeira was a crackhead in her 20s and needed a family intervention to save her life. She has been through hell and back. Bottom line, cage fighting is a day in the spa for her. Yeah, Fight Club, you're absolutely right about that. She was playing college volleyball and got stabbed in the back. She's had a lot of shit happen to her in her life, and she's come through a lot in her life. And, it shows the way that she fights in the cage. She fights like somebody who's been through a lot of shit. She fights like somebody who never quits. And the fact that she got to where she is in life, after being through all of that is a test to her perseverance. I don't want to see her cheating anymore. That eye gouging was absolutely disgusting. I'd like to see her start to fight fair and not cheat. But I got a lot of respect for Priscilla. She's a tough woman, and she deserves to be here. I think it's going to be a damn close fight. It's going to be a very entertaining fight, and I think it's actually a good main card fight. I think it's actually going to be more entertaining than this one. I don't know what to think of this one, you guys. I'm going to just take you through what I've written here. Misha Cirkunov advantages: 3 inches taller and a 5-inch reach advantage, much stronger. Cirkunov is a natural 205er, while Wellington is really more of a 185er. Experience, and this fight is taking place at 185. This is Cirkunov's second fight at 185. In experience, Cirkunov has 4.5 more years as a pro, 6 more UFC fights. Half of his pro career is fought at the UFC level, while for Turman, it's less than 25%. And he's a better finisher. 86% finish rate for Cirkunov, 65% finish rate for Turman. In striking, the striking is close, but over his UFC career, Misha has better metrics as he lands 0.7 more significant strikes per minute than he absorbs, and he's slightly more accurate and way better defensively than Wellington. He's got a 59.6% striking defense to Wellington Turman's 43.5% striking defense. In the grappling, Cirkunov is the more accurate and more efficient grappler, landing takedowns at twice the rate of Turman and outcontrolling his opponents at over a 2-to-1 ratio, while Turman outcontrols his opponents at a 1.6-to-1 ratio. And the strength of schedule, Cirkunov has fought, beaten, and lost to the better competition, and has done so primarily up a weight class at 205. Turman, though, is 9 years younger than Misha, 25 years old still, so he could still be in a place where he's making improvements. He's got 70 more minutes in the pro cage than Misha Cirkunov, which is surprising, but when we see that Cirkunov's average fight time in his career is 4.73 minutes and Turman's is 7.8, it's not surprising that he's got almost double the cage time, despite the fact that they have the exact same amount of pro fights. He's slightly more durable, is Turman, than Cirkunov, as he's been finished in 2 out of 5 Turman losses have been finishes, but 6 out of 7 of Cirkunov's losses have been finishes. That's 87% finish rate against for Misha Cirkunov. And in the striking, Misha has been notoriously chinny at 205, so there's always a chance Turman could land a big shot here, especially now that Cirkunov is cutting a bunch of weight. We could see that chin even potentially be more of an issue here. In the grappling, Wellington Turman's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so Turman is always comfortable in the grappling exchanges. So even if Misha takes it to the ground, Wellington should be fine there. Look, Cirkunov's a finisher. Turman's been finished. Cirkunov's been finished. I like the fact that Cirkunov is bigger. I like the fact that he's not going to be out of his depth on the ground here. And I like the fact that Misha probably is going to be the one to decide where this fight takes place. So I'm going to pick Misha by first round KO. But like I said, I'm not particularly confident in it. I need to look further into that fight. But it is a very interesting one. I just don't know if I can trust Misha here at 34 years old, down a weight class now with the chinniness. I really do think he's probably better than Wellington just about everywhere, but I don't know if I have the faith to bet him, you guys. That takes us to our main event. We got Bobby Green stepping in on short notice to take on the number 1 lightweight that is not the champion right now. That is going to be Islam Makhachev. Islam is minus 900, and Bobby Green sitting around plus 550. Fight doesn't go to decision. Minus 325 here. Let's see here. We've got, for the advantages, Bobby Green. Let's see. Oh, wait a second. I'm going to start with Islam Makhachev. The Makhachev advantages is that he's 5 years younger and he's a southpaw in the measurables. In striking, Makhachev sets the UFC record for being the most defensively responsible, only absorbing 0.79 significant strikes per minute and never absorbing more than 13 significant strikes in any of his 11 UFC fights. So, as good as anybody is striking, it almost is meaningless, as Islam gets to decide where the fight takes place, and he absorbs less than one significant strike a minute. And even when you fight the guy for 15 minutes or longer, the odds that you've ever had more than 13 significant strikes landed against this young man is 0. So, yeah. In the grappling, I mean, obviously Makhachev is on another level. He's crazy on the ground. 66.67% takedown accuracy, gotten 24 of 36 takedown attempts in the UFC, averaging 3.38 takedowns per 15 minutes. 1.27 submission attempts for 15 minutes, and he's out-controlling his opponents at a 52% to 9.74% rate. Maybe the best minute winner on the ground that this division currently has. Excellent submission game, and his chain wrestling is elite. And he's beaten the better competition. He has a submission over common opponent, Thiago Moises, while Bobby Green lost a decision to Thiago Moises. The Green advantages are quite a few. He's got a 1-inch reach advantage. He's got a big-time experience advantage here, you guys. 20 more professional fights, 237 more minutes of professional cage time, 2.5 more years as a pro. He's been super active over his 14-year career, averaging 3 fights a year, 6 more fights at the UFC level, and 125 more minutes in the UFC cage, and he's the more diverse finisher. Islam Makhachev averages less than 2 fights per year, while Bobby Green averages a little over 3. So he's just been a lot more active. And striking, it's not even close. Bobby Green's the much better technical striker here. He throws more volume. He's far more accurate. He's a big-time minute winner. His striking ratios are next level. Speed, accuracy, footwork, everything is all Green on the feet. But it just doesn't matter. I mean, I found some weird statistics, though. Like when we look at the advanced stats for Bobby Green, he doesn't spend a lot of time being controlled. It's actually quite interesting. And in the fights where Bobby Green gets taken down, I wanted to just highlight this to you. I think this is kind of interesting. Let's look at the fights where Bobby Green is taken down, and we'll highlight them. So he was taken down 2 out of 3 times in this fight. 1 out of 6 times in this fight, 1 out of 2 times in this fight, 3 out of 12 times in this fight, 1 out of 2 times in this fight, 1 out of 2 times, 1 out of 1 times here, 4 out of 5 times here, 2 out of 9 times here, and 4 out of 12 here. So these are the fights where he was taken down. It's 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 13, 15, 19 takedowns out of 9, 11, 21, 23, 25, 31, 40, 52. So 19 out of 52 his opponents were in these fights on takedowns. And in those fights, Bobby Green is 6, 1. Yeah, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, and 1 in those fights, you guys. When Bobby Green gets taken down, he's got a 75% winning percentage. So, and if you look at the control time that he's yielding, it's this column here. The most time he's ever been controlled in a 3-round fight was 337 seconds by Jacob Volkman, and he won that fight. He's very good on the ground, is Bobby Green. I mean, is he Islam Makhachev's level? No. He beat, a great wrestler and a guy who outcontrols his opponents in Clay Guida. Clay Guida almost controlled him at a 4-to-1 ratio here and still lost the fight. So, is there a possibility that Bobby Green can hang around, that he can win some minutes on the feet, make this fight dirty? Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, but really, we see levels in this fight and in this fight game, and Islam Makhachev is on a different level on the ground. And I mean, you look at the control time numbers here. There's one fight where he had 1 second of control time. That was against Gleison Tebow. And then this one he lost. And then everything else, 180 out of 458, 536 out of 900, 714 out of 900, 88 out of 273, 366 out of 900, 279 out of 900, 566 out of 697, 491 out of 1058. So, yeah, this is very impressive. You know, he's subbing Drew Dober. He's subbing Thiago Moises. Those are two Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champions that he subbed in back-to-back fights. So, you know, Bobby Green can swim on the ground with Jacob Volkman, but can he swim with Islam Makhachev? My guess, you guys, is probably not. I'm going to be picking Islam Makhachev by second-round submission here. And here we are. We're an hour and 25 minutes in. We've broken down all 12 fights from the statistical perspective on this UFC Vegas 49 card, you guys. That means we have one order of business left to cover, and that is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Who's it going to be, you guys? Is your Uncle Weezy going to just cower it out and give you Islam Makhachev, who's like a minus 800 favorite? I'm not going to do that to you guys. I got to be better than that. So, you know, there's some good spots here. You know, the McKinney Ziam is probably going to wind up in an ass shaving. I just don't know, you know, who it's going to be. Frey Goldy not touching with a 10-foot pole. Nunes Pascual not touching with a 10-foot pole. I mean, this one could end violently, and I think it's a great fight, but I think it's very close. I think it's closer than the line indicates. But what I hate is Gillmore going up against a really talented submission grappler in Ramiz Brahimaj, a great MMA grappler, a guy who gets his best work done on the ground, and a guy who usually will attack his opponent's weakness when it is there, when it is evident. And in the case of Micheal Gillmore, the guy has shown a very big deficiency in his grappling defense, in his ability to be submitted. Prior to losing to Petrosyan in his last fight, all three of his pro losses had been inside the distance by submission. Ramiz Brahimaj has taken this fight on short notice. I don't think he's going to play around, you guys. I think he's going to shoot a takedown in the first 10 seconds, try to advance position, get Gillmore to turn his back and lock in a rear naked choke. I am predicting Ramiz Brahimaj by first-round submission, and with that, I give you Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. That will be Ramiz Brahimaj shaving the ass of Micheal Gillmore via first-round submission. We did it, you guys. We had over 50 of you guys in here on a Tuesday night hanging out with your Uncle Weezy. Just the tip, like we always do on Tuesday nights. God bless each and every one of you guys for spending your Tuesday night with me. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 49. I will see you tomorrow here at 5 p.m. Central Time for a McKinney Ziam Balls Deep breakdown on my channel. Then at 6 o'clock, I will be on Pub Sports Radio for the DFS show with DFS by the Numbers, with Monk, and with Luke from Sparring with Reality Betting. And then after the Club and Sub podcast at 10:30 p.m. Central Time, I will be doing a Balls Deep breakdown right here again on my channel for the it is going to be, I already said McKinney Ziam, so it's going to be the Petrosyan Rodrigues fight. Shout out F. Carrillo, who requested those Balls Deep breakdowns. So you're going to get sick of me tomorrow, as I'm going to be on the air 3 hours tomorrow in 3 different spots, but 2 of them will be right here on my channel, Uncle Weezy on YouTube. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out here on a Tuesday night, and let's make some money for UFC Vegas 49. I am going to sign off now, and we will talk to you guys not twice, but thrice tomorrow on Wednesday. See you guys. Take care.